2, 3, 4.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Inside Quest. This is a chance for you guys to dictate the topics of the episode. So thank you everybody who submitted a question. All right, without further ado, the first question comes via Instagram from Andrew Hayes. Has Tom Bilyeu interviewed all of his dream guests yet? The answer to that is no. So the great news is we plan to do this every week until every last human being is pulled out of the matrix. I'm gonna need a lot more guests. Not only are there people that I already know about that I'm desperate to get on the show, but there are people that I discover every day that I didn't know about before. Many of them submitted by the community, by the way, so thank you guys so much. Keep those coming. If there's somebody really amazing that you wanna see on the show, that would be absolutely incredible. We'd love your submissions. In the meanwhile, we will keep trying to bring the highest quality, amazing people to you that we can. The next question comes from Marie Sornin.
Do you have any videos about creativity that could help an art business grow? Thanks in advance for your response.
Honestly, growing an art business isn't really fundamentally different from any other business. So first of all, there's obviously accounting basics that you're gonna have to master. You're gonna have to understand the cost structure of your business. You're gonna have to understand your profitability and where the dollars are going. So if you make $1, how much of it goes back out, how much of it is retained for profit. If you have employees, you're gonna need to understand payroll tax and things like that. So there's a lot of just sort of base business lessons that you'll need to learn. There's tons of great books out there on that. You'll have no difficult time finding just an amazing wealth of information on that. But then the other is the idea of delivering value. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you make or sell or what your service is. Your real goal with your company is to deliver value. And once people realize that, once people realize my job is to bring more value to this person than anyone else in my industry, that's when you can monetize it, because value is something that people will pay for. And once you're delivering something that people will pay for, by definition, you've got the most fundamental building block of a business, which is you've got revenue coming in. That's really critical. And a lot of people think that they are their product or they're meant to make and sell something. And once they stop thinking about making and selling things and they realize, I just need to deliver value and I need to deliver more value than anybody else in my industry, they're going to open their mind up to attacking the problem from a lot of different areas. And that's when I think people really start to find real success. The next question was emailed to us by Joseph Alexander. What motives behind persuasion are best incorporated in family relationships and in new business deals? Ooh, okay, so here's the thing about persuasion, about Jedi mind tricks, if you will. They're incredibly dangerous, and if people feel that you're trying to manipulate them, all hope is lost. And the thing to remember, human beings are incredibly adept at feeling when somebody's moving them around the chessboard. So it's not something that you want to do. You've got to go into things understanding what it is you're trying to get, why you're trying to persuade them, and whether or not that's in their best interest to be persuaded. The motives behind persuasion, they do ultimately matter, and it's something that you really have to be careful with. The cliche of we're trying to find a win-win opportunity is actually pretty powerful. Now, the reason that I'm always trying to find a win-win opportunity, so the motive in that case is I want to do something that's great for their business, I want to do something that's great for my business, and I definitely want to do something that's great for the customer. The reason that I want a win-win is because that's good for the long-term viability of my business. In my business, I need an ongoing relationship with not only my customers, but with my retail partners. And if I go in and I slap them around when I'm strong, then they're going to wait for a moment when I'm weak and they're going to pounce and try to slap me around. And it really becomes this abusive relationship. If, on the other hand, we're each trying to see things from the other person's perspective, like for instance, when I'm dealing with a company that I know is a public company, I know that they have reporting requirements to the street. And I actually go into a negotiation trying to understand how will this very negotiation impact what they have to report to Wall Street, because that's going to have a very significant impact on their valuation from their superiors on how they're doing their job. Now, if I put them in a position where they're going to look good, where they're going to get accolades, they're going to potentially position themselves to be promoted, then I know that that's only going to come back and help me in the long run because I'm putting them in a position to win. And thinking like that, because of human nature, that's always going to come back around to you. So I actually do try to go in with very pure motives of understanding that the greatest strategy for the long-term viability of my business is to deliver value to the customer and to maintain good partnerships with the people that help me sell my product. And I think when people fail to do that, they may succeed in the short term, but they're not going to succeed in the long term. So the most powerful piece of advice that I ever got in business is don't go for the sale. Go for the repeat business. And I think that's just really, really incredible advice. Go for the repeat business. Go for the referral. You want that person telling somebody else how amazing you or your service is. When you get that, then you've really got word of mouth business. The one thing I avoid at all costs is any behavior that I would deem predatory if somebody were using it on me. So it's hilarious how much of this stuff comes back to the golden rule, but treat other people the way you'd want to be treated. Do that when you're strong, and you should be able to expect that when you're weak. And look, everybody has their moments where they're up, everybody has their moments when they're down. And if you've been fair and reasonable and really tried to help put your partners in a position to win, they'll reciprocate when your time comes. And if they don't, then you know they're not a good partner, and you move on and you find somebody that acts more honorably. In your family, obviously that's incredibly tricky. Every family dynamic is different, but some of the base ideas still apply. You want to go in with really pureness of heart, and you don't want to try to manipulate or cajole people into doing something that's not in their best interest. You want to find out how you can align your selfish desires, and alignment of selfish desires is really critical. The one thing that I've found in family is boundaries are really important. So rather than go into it with any motive beyond, I want to live a life that's authentic to me and makes me happy, and I want to make sure that you're able to live a life that's authentic to you and makes you happy. Because I oftentimes see families sort of tangle each other up where they make demands that, hey, this is what I want to do, and to show me respect for whatever reason, then you should come and do it as well. And while sometimes that's exactly what you need to do and say, hey, this isn't really something that I enjoy doing, but I really want to support you. I want to be there for you. I want you to know how much I love and care about you, so I'm going to do it. And then you may look for the same in return, but then there's also going to be times where it's like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it to what you want me to do, and just be open and honest about it. And that really does draw a boundary. One very powerful lesson that I've learned, and I'm sure many of you have learned, people treat you exactly the way you let them treat you. So if you let your family monopolize all of your time, that you always go and do what people ask of you, then there's no respect for your time. There's no respect for what you're trying to accomplish. But if you're very respectful of what the other person's trying to do and accomplish, and don't make unwarranted demands on them or their time, then they should show you that respect in return. And if they don't, then you're just going to have to be strong and draw a line in the sand and act in accordance with your own belief system. The next question comes from Sam via email.
How can I improve my short-term and long-term memory?
There are a lot of ways, and it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. There are some absolutely great books on memory, one of the most famous being Moonwalking with Einstein, which talks a lot about using mnemonic devices to increase your short-term and long-term memory. And it can be a really great vehicle, mnemonics. And if you don't know mnemonics, it's oftentimes they're rhyming, or it's using just a really vivid image, like Einstein moonwalking, to remember something. And moonwalking Einstein would stand for feeding the dog, or whatever the case may be. And you would tell yourself the story with all these very vivid imagery, since humans are much more able to remember visual images than they are just lists or ideas. If you can make it concrete into something that's highly, highly visual and really unique, so that really sticks, then you can get some very powerful ways to create short-term or long-term memories. And the book, Moonwalking with Einstein, is people that were going to compete in the International Memory Championships, where they have to memorize a deck of cards in a very short amount of time. And it's absolutely astonishing how rapidly these guys can memorize a randomly shuffled deck or multiple shuffled decks. Absolutely incredible. And while I don't know an absolute ton about it, I think virtually all of them use that same mnemonic technique of using rhymes or images to pull it off, or memory palaces. Many of you may have heard of memory palaces, where you're walking back through a space that you know very well, and you deposit these items within the memory palace, and you may be depositing the hyper-visual image of a moonwalking Einstein is in the foyer, or whatever the case may be. Other things that play into memory, certainly long-term memory, is diet. And if you look at some of the new research that's coming out on Alzheimer's, they're calling it now diabetes type 3, which, if true, would make Alzheimer's essentially a blood sugar disorder of the brain. So protecting your brain by the things that you eat. Fat is very brain protective. There's a lot of amazing research coming out on ketogenics and its effect on cognition that could play a very significant role. And then, just to really, really make it simple, neurons that fire together wire together. Neurons that fire together, wire together. So if there are long-term connections that you're trying to make, simply doing something over and over and over and over, the sheer repetition of something will really drive it into your memory. And if you can coordinate multiple senses to really bring that together, such as tempo or physical movement, you can further draw it into memory. And if you read John Rady's book, Spark, he talks a lot about people's ability to increase their memory just by increasing their level of physical exertion, especially right before studying the thing that they need to remember. And look, those are just 2 books, the absolute tip of the iceberg of a wealth of information around how to train your memory. So dive in, and in fact, if you come across something that you think is really great, please drop it in the comments here. We'd all benefit from improving our memory. All right, the next question was emailed to us from Alfred.
In an interview with Tony Robbins, we learned that there are 2 areas in life that you need to master to be successful: the science of achievement and art of fulfillment. In your opinion, what creates a fulfilling life?
All right, this is such a powerful question. It's so important to ask and answer. Now, it's not universal, so it's going to be different for everybody. Certainly when you're talking about work, there's 5 things that are going to make you feel what I call framework happiness, happiness that lasts. And one of these will play directly into Tony's notion of fulfillment in a minute. The first one is autonomy. Nobody wants to be a puppet on a string, so you want to make sure that you're in a work environment where you do have autonomy, you have a superior that's not micromanaging you, not trying to tell you how to do everything. So that's important. The next is a desire for mastery. So humans just want to get better. It's one of the absolute foundations of fulfillment is progression, of feeling like you're learning and growing and developing, you're moving forward. And a lot of people mistake momentum financially with momentum for growth. And I think that growth, feeling like you're gaining more skills, that you're getting better, that you're mastering something, feeds into fulfillment far more than monetary compensation. So make sure that you're focused on tasks that mean something to you, that have relevance to you in your life, that you're applying yourself to getting better at that. It's incredibly, incredibly rewarding. The next one is a desire for significance, and that's just really, really powerful. People want to know that their contributions matter. That's something that you want to set yourself up for. You want to understand what you're working for. You want to understand how your contributions fit in. So if you're working in somebody else's company, to really understand how your contributions matter within the company, that's incredibly valuable and is such a driver for fulfillment when you have the final thing in place, and that's meaning. And when you have meaning coupled with significance, so you know why you're doing what you're doing, that's really meaning. You know why you're doing. You've got a mission. There's something that's incredibly important to you that you're willing to fight for, that you're willing to make come true in this world, and then you see the significance that your actions have, that they're actually feeding in to that becoming a reality, that you're actually moving towards accomplishing your mission. Those 2 things together, they are the dynamic duo of fulfillment. When you have those 2 things, you know why you're doing what you're doing, and you know how your contributions matter to the overall accomplishment. That really is a powerful feeling. And I think when it's aimed at other people, when it's aimed at just helping other people, and it's not something that's focused on you, it's focused outwards on giving something to other people and watching them shine, there's just something about the human condition where we love that. We have a natural desire to connect. We have a natural desire to bring something beautiful to other people. And when you are using your actions and your energies to make a significant contribution to a meaning and a mission that you believe in, and you see it impact another human being, that will light you up and make you feel fulfilled in a way that nothing else will. And the 5th thing that I didn't mention, and I didn't mention it because while it's the thing people focus on because it's so measurable, it really is diminutive in the grand scheme, and that's money. Look, there is a minimum amount of money that you need to make so that you're not worrying about it, you're not thinking about it all the time. But you want to quickly get past just the monetary drivers in your life, because that will bring momentary happiness and is an awesome way to fund the things that really mean something to you. But at the end of the day, money's value is its ability to help you manifest the things that you really believe in, to bring into existence that mission that you're passionate about, that helps you gain significance through helping other people. The next question comes from Kai Whiting. When are you going to write your book, The Quest of the Jedi Master? What chapters would you include? Kai, thank you for the question. I'm actually working on a book now. It actually isn't about becoming a Jedi Master. It's loosely titled Take the Red Pill. And the chapters that I would include are the 25 bullet points of the Quest belief system. So I spent about 15 or 20 years pulling myself out of the matrix. And what I mean by that, by the way, the matrix to me is just a metaphor or an allegory for people trapping themselves with their own limited mindset. So right now, everybody, myself included, you are limiting yourself with your own mindset. You're doing it, you're applying it to yourself, you're allowing yourself to believe people that try to give you defeating ideas. You may even cultivate some of those defeating ideas yourself, all in an effort to keep yourself safe, but it's also keeping you limited, and it's truly stopping you from accomplishing as much in your life as you could accomplish. And because I had the very good fortune of encountering just amazing human beings, both in books and in person, that showed me that I was limiting my own mindset, and because of that, I wasn't accomplishing the things in my life that I had this vague feeling that I could, which is why the Matrix resonated with me so much. You know, it's all about this vague feeling, but you don't quite know what the Matrix is. And I realized the Matrix is very simple. It's my own limiting mindset. And if I could change my mindset to something that was truly anti-fragile, not robust or resilient, but actually anti-fragile, that the more you tried to attack me, the more you tried to belittle or malign me, the more powerful I got, then I would have a mindset that would truly free me from the matrix and allow me to accomplish the goals that I wanted to accomplish. I ended up writing those lessons down, and those lessons came to be the 25 bullet points that we call the Quest belief system. It's the driving force behind Inside Quest. Every word that ever comes out of my mouth is a reflection of the 25 bullet points. They are the things that if you embody in your soul, it will change everything about your life. We have them up on the website, so go to InsideQuest.com. You can see all 25. It's just really rudimentary, foundational level stuff that's going to help you succeed in your life. But the irony is, I give that list of bullet points to anybody who will stop and listen long enough. They are literally the things that took me from scrounging in my couch cushions to find enough change to put gas in my car to founding and running a $1 billion company. And despite people asking me, what made you successful? And me saying, these 25 bullet points, which my co-founders helped me discover, they don't read them. And if they read them, they don't embody them. And at the end of the day, embodying them is the only thing that matters. So check them out. And I really want to make this clear. I can't recite the 25 bullet points. I don't know what they are. I don't have them memorized. But I embody every single one of them. The point is not to memorize them, just embody it and show yourself that you're actually living in accordance with those beliefs, because they will change everything about your life if you let them. All right, so that'll be the book. Thank you, Kai, for the ongoing encouragement, man. It really does mean a lot. All right, our next question comes from Jake via Facebook.
What's more important, to hustle and become the lion to chase my vision, or to practice my patience and wait for my skills to mature?
This one's very easy, Jake. Hear me and hear me well. Patience is not a virtue. Get rid of it. And when somebody tells me that they're waiting on somebody or something, man, it boils my blood. I go into the red zone instantly. Not because I don't cultivate the ability to root myself or calm myself or stay centered at all times, I do. And I don't think people need to be hyperactive. And when the only intelligent thing to do is wait, you wait. But 99 times out of 100, the only intelligent thing is to push forward with such ferocity that nothing dare stand in your way. I can't say enough. The people that succeed are the people who are relentless. There are two mindsets. There's the entrepreneur's mindset and there's the employee mindset. You don't have to own your own company to have an entrepreneur's mindset, and you can own your own company and still have an employee's mindset. But I break the two up this way. When I was an employee and something would go wrong, let's say the internet went down, I would relax and I would be so excited because it meant I couldn't do any more work. I got to chill, I got to hang out, I got to BS with my friends. Maybe if I was lucky, I got to go home early. That's how an employee thinks. because they don't have a compelling future that they're marching towards with everything, every part of their being. There's not something in them that's a passion that drives them, something that they are so fucking hungry to make come real that they want to stay late. They want to push forward. They're pissed that the internet went down because they're not going to tolerate it. They're not going to sit there and wait. They're going to find a way to get the internet back up. And that brings me to the second reaction. An entrepreneur, when they hit an obstacle, they don't relax. They get pissed because it just means they're going to have to work that much harder, because it never occurs to them to stop or give up, because they're moving towards something. They have a compelling future that they are absolutely racing towards. They have something that they want to make come true. They want to make it come true. It's not external. It's not somebody telling them that they should want it. It's something that lives inside of them. It's something that started as maybe a mild interest. It started as, hey, that might be cool. But they looked into it, and they dug into it, and they learned more about it, and they practiced it, and they got better, and they found in gaining mastery that they began to love it, and that it became a passion. And then they married that passion, that love for that thing, with a mission. Something that they were hell-bent to make happen. Whether it was Tom's Shoes trying to put shoes on the feet of people in need, whether it was Tony Robbins deciding that he was going to feed hundreds of millions of people, whatever your mission is, when you have that thing that you build your self-esteem around, your willingness to push harder than anybody else to make that thing come true, to serve somebody else, to just absolutely annihilate obstacle after obstacle, because you have a growth mindset and you want to deliver something to the world, you will understand that the lion is the only thing that matters. But if you think of the lion as merely predatory, you've missed the point. The lion is just an awesome symbol of being driven, of getting strength and aggression out of something beautiful that you believe in. If you let that drive you forward, if you're really trying to birth into this world something spectacular, something that only you could do, because it's this unique intersection of the thing that you were interested in, that became a love, that became a burning passion, that you then married to a mission, then only you can bring that thing to the world. Why would you ever want to be patient? If your instinct is to relax, if your instinct is to be patient, then you haven't cultivated that thing that you love yet. You haven't found an interest, a spark, an ember, and turned it into a fucking fire. Because when you do that, and everybody has the capability of doing that, and it is active, it's not going to happen to you. You're not going to be hit with the passion lightning bolt. You're going to take an interest and you're going to fan those flames, and it's going to become something. And if you let it be a beautiful something and not a predatory something, then you've got something. Now, that doesn't mean don't have fun. It doesn't mean don't kick back. Look, I play video games totally guilt-free sometimes. And I do it because I've proven to myself over and over, I show up when I need to show up. I'm making my vision a reality. I work my ass off. I'm fucking focused. And I'm never afraid to admit what I don't know. I'm never worried about looking stupid. And because I know I can fight, I don't have to fight at the drop of a hat. When you have that, you'll see that there's times, of course, I'm going to lay back and chill and sleep in and cuddle my wife. You're going to make a beautiful life. Balance is going to be born out of two intensities. When you do something, you will do both all the way. When I'm building my dream, I'm all fucking in. And when I'm cuddling my wife, I'm all in there. And nothing else exists. And through those two incredibly unbalanced and all-in endeavors, I find balance in my life. And I think at the end of the day, that will serve you better than trying to choose between a lion and patience. Thank you for that question. The next question is from Alfred. What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self? Alfred, if only I could talk to my 18-year-old self. All right, here's what I would say. I've thought about this a lot, maybe a little too much. The first thing that I would do is I would make sure that I read Carol Dweck's seminal book, Mindset. The reason is when I was 18, I prided myself on being smart. And the problem is I was so very often not the smartest person in the room, which meant that my ego was constantly being slapped about, and I was constantly trying to put myself in dumber and dumber rooms so that I could be the smarter person. Now, as I'm sure if you're watching this, you know that is a terrible strategy and absolutely losing, because you're not encountering enough fresh and compelling ideas. And to me, ideas in equal ideas out. And if you're getting garbage ideas from people that aren't as well read as you or just aren't as smart as you, because you're doing that to be ego protective and say, wow, look how cool that I am, it's gonna hold you back. So I would tell my 18-year-old self to stop worrying about looking smart. It doesn't make sense. In fact, go out of your way to look stupid, because the reality is if you're not afraid to look stupid, you can actually learn. And the learning is the thing that matters. And I think that's what people miss. Knowledge stacks on itself. So like right now, if you all think I'm an idiot, that's fine, because I know that I'm learning. And I know for me, every day this is practice. And I know on a long enough timeline, I can beat anyone at anything, right? Think of the arrogance of that. But that's the story I tell myself. And even if I'm wrong, even if it's a lie, think how far I'll go just because I believe it. Think how much farther I'll go than the next person because I'm willing to tell myself that potential lie. And so I just go and I go and I go. And the story that I tell myself is the story of the learner. I'm the learner. I learn. I don't worry about being an expert. I don't worry about being great today. I'm not worried about that. I just want to learn. Can I learn in this environment? Is this person who's criticizing me? Is there something that I can learn? When people throw vociferous hate at me, I ask only one question: is any of this right? Because if it is right, then I can learn something. And then if I really am being stupid right now, then I don't have to be stupid tomorrow. And if I've gotten this far by being as dumb as they say I am, imagine how far I can go if I get just a little bit better. And then just a little bit better. And having that mindset, man, if I could have had that at 18, I'd be a lot farther along than I am now. All right, the next question comes from Maul on YouTube. I'm scared to share anything valuable with people I know. It's my own fixed mindset telling me I'm not good at inspiring people. Can anyone relate and give some advice or references to check out? Well, first, yes, I certainly can relate. I imagine that many people can relate as well. But the thing I want to point out is the level of self-awareness that it takes to say what you just said is so powerful and is going to serve you so well that I actually don't have a lot of fears for you. I think you're very quickly going to realize that, one, you can get better at being inspirational, and sharing things that fall flat, that's not a big deal, right? Because your job is to share and see, did that inspire people? No, it didn't, okay, and my goal is to inspire. Then what didn't work, what did, and just get a sheer volume of work out there. I'm reading a book right now called Originals, and it's really powerful. And one of the things that he talks about in the book is that we look at these people who've done incredible things in their life, like Picasso, for instance. The sheer volume of work that he put out is astonishing, but we only remember 2 to 5%. It's really a small number of his paintings that have gained the kind of critical acclaim and lasting recognition that he's famous for. But it was really an absolutely infinitesimal part of his overall body of work. So volume of work is really, really critical when you want to be original or get ideas out there that work or don't, because in the volume of ideas, you're able to figure out those principles of success. So not all of it's going to hit. Don't judge yourself like that. Also, I don't know if this is what you meant, but one thing in terms of sharing ideas that's really important is there's almost no value in an idea. The value is in execution. So that's something that's really, really important for everybody out there. Don't be afraid to share your ideas, even if it's not something like, oh, hey, if this idea doesn't inspire, then it was no good. And it's something like, hey, I think this is a great idea and I'm just worried somebody's going to steal it. The value of an idea is always in the execution. People have the same idea at the same time, all over the place, and usually there's only one winner. And it isn't even always the first to market. It's going to be the best to execute. Like take Google, for instance. They weren't by any means the first search engine. There were dozens of very popular search engines before they came along, but they were the ones who did it best, and they're the ones that we all remember now. All right, the next question comes from Ivy Carnegie.
My question to you is, do you hug your employees? I want to encourage them, I want to inspire them, I care about them, I want them to know I care about them, but does hugging them devalue your credibility as their boss?
Wow, I hope not. I hug the life out of the employees that enjoy hugs. It's rare that I instigate the first hug, just because I'm very aware that not everybody likes to hug. I'm a super huggy dude. I enjoy a hug, so anybody? Do I have takers? But yeah, not everybody enjoys that. I try to be super respectful of people's personal space. But as you see the guests that come on Inside Quest, I hug most of them. And that really comes down to authenticity for me. The thing that you're going to be judged by over time is whether you deliver results. I wear goofy ass shoes a lot of the times. I dress differently. I go to banker meetings, not in a suit. And the reason that I do that is the concept of idiosyncrasy credits. If you perform and you deliver value to other people, you gain idiosyncrasy credits. If you're a performer and people know them and you're going to come through and you just deliver time after time, they're going to forgive funny shoes and they may even come to value it. And the reason that they come to value it is it's a sign that you're prepared to be authentically you. You're not afraid to stand outside the norm. You're not overly concerned about people's perceptions of you. And I do think about what people think of me for sure. And if I really felt like the shoes were eroding my credibility in a meaningful way, I wouldn't do it. And while I know some people do think less of me because of the way that I dress or because of the shoes that I wear, they connect with me over it and they see something authentic and they see something real and they can get a real bit of my personality. And I think when people detect authenticity, it helps them be more vulnerable, it helps them be themselves, and it helps you bond in a real way because I'm showing you something real about my personality. And I think one of the things people struggle with the most, certainly with the boss, is where do I stand? What does this person think of me? And when you're really being yourself, it just sets people up for a more honest and open conversation because there's less posture, or less posturing, I should say. And so I think that that's pretty powerful. So going back to the hugs, you got to be careful because not everybody wants that hug. But if it's that kind of rapport that you have with somebody, I really wouldn't worry about it diminishing your credibility. If you're performing, people are going to know that, and acting goofy isn't going to matter. In fact, one of my favorite examples, Ron Penna, my business partner, you want to talk about a guy that delivers time and time and time again. The guy's just unbelievable. And every now and then he'll walk around with paper clips on his ears like they're earrings. Weird as hell, but it's true. And I find it absolutely endearing, and I love it when he does it. And that man has earned some idiosyncrasy credits because he delivers, man. He performs. And that, at the end of the day, deliver value to other people. They'll forgive just about anything else. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today for this Q&A. It is such an honor to receive your questions and to have an opportunity to talk directly to you guys. This is some of my favorite stuff. I just really thank you for turning this community into something incredibly special. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. We're trying to put together world-class content. Our goal is truly to become unrivaled. And I've said it before and I will say it again, the only way that's going to happen is with building an amazing community, and we're off to just an incredibly powerful start. Also, as you know, our goal is to build up our subscriber base, so be sure to send this around, share it with as many people as you can if the content is delivering value. And if it's not, I'll work harder and try to get there next time. All right, until next time, guys, be legendary. Take care.